Well, hello. Welcome to the first edition of the 49ers Chaos show. Here, right now, live. I accept chats, but we're going to react to the Niners and our last game. We're going to talk about the 49ers and how they're doing because the 49ers, in a situation where we thought, oh no, we could be in trouble, quarterback gone. Everybody running their mouth, blah, blah, blah. Jimmy G's not good enough, blah, blah, blah. He only took us to the Super Bowl. And then what happens? He gets hurt, and suddenly we're not complaining about Jimmy G. We're kind of nervous, kind of shaking a little bit. What's going to happen? What's going to happen to the 49ers without Jimmy G? And then we get a gift, I tell you, because a man named Brock Purdy came in and has totally changed the scope of this team, not just this season, but more the off season. And a big problem, a big decision just became a lot easier because of the play of Brock Purdy. But before we get into all of that, we lost a very important player, former player in the NFL, great impact on the game. We're going to pay him a little bit of a tribute, and then I'll be right back, and we'll talk about Brock Purdy, the 49ers, and what has changed this offseason for the 49ers thanks to the play of Brock Purdy. And there you have it. Franco Harris, rest in peace. Great NFL football player, great Steeler, great champion. Embodies everything an NFL player should be, in my opinion. It's what we all want all of the players on the teams we root for to be, be like Franco Harris. Tough, strong, leader. Just always put the team first. And what is up, Jess Mess? And of course, we have Jets fans here. Jets fans are very interested in the 49ers, and let me tell you why. The Jets fans are interested in the 49ers because the 49ers have the same offensive and defensive scheme as the Jets, so I can't get rid of these Jets fans. They're like pests. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what to do about it, but we're going to have a lot of Jets fans around here every once in a while. I'm going to warn you now, because they want to steal the thunder of the 49ers Shanahan offense and the solid defense. Well, it's not the solid defense anymore, but, well, it is over there. But over here, it's what remains of solid defense. But anyway, I promised a little talk about Brock Purdy. Okay, so when we talk about Brock Purdy and his game and what he's done, here's why it's important for the 49ers. The 49ers situation was going to be interesting going to the offseason. They were already talking about the possibility of having to re-sign Jimmy G. And the reason for that was, fairly simple. Trey Lance got hurt, obviously injured for the second year in a row. We intended not to use him last year, got hurt. He was banged up a little when they did try to use him. Come into this year, see what we have, see who Trey Lance is, have Jimmy G as the $30 million or so insurance policy. Trey Lance goes down again. So now we have a guy who's barely taken any snaps in the NFL. That's already 2 seasons into his rookie contract. And you have Jimmy G coming along and bringing the team through the season and doing a good job. Ups and downs, but 49ers on their way to the playoffs. Then Jimmy G pulls his usual act, which is to get hurt, because unfortunately that's the main thing that's plagued his career is injury. So Jimmy G goes down. Just as the Niners were really getting used to the idea that Jimmy G might be the guy. I mean, Trey Lance, unproven. Niners really a win-now team, a team competing right now for championships. And I think the offseason was really going to be about, wow, you're going to have to keep Jimmy G. But then Jimmy G gets hurt, and Brock Purdy changes the landscape, because what happens when Brock Purdy comes in, the Niners haven't missed a beat. And there's reasons for that. Some of the reasons for that is like Jimmy G, Brock Purdy. And we didn't know, there was no way to know this for sure, but Brock Purdy was good enough to manage the game and carry the team. And yes, you're supposed to be on this show, but Adam didn't give me your information. So if you can contact Adam and have him get you in here, that would be great. I can actually put the link right in here in the chat, can I? I think I can. So let me just do this. Actually get somebody who knows about the 49ers in here. So here, Melissa, here's the link. I'm just joking. I know about the 49ers. I know a lot about the 49ers, but it would be more fun for you if you had somebody who was an animate fan. And Melissa is an animate fan of the 49ers. Wow, that was fast. So anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about Brock Purdy and how he's changed the landscape, and that is by coming in and playing so well, showing that you can manage the 49ers offense and still win and have them still be successful. It's going to save the Niners a lot of money, because they're not going to have to re-sign Jimmy G. Trey Lance will get his shot, and if he doesn't work out, you have Jimmy. You have Brock Purdy, who's showing he could lead this team. But anyway, without further ado, let me bring Adam into the show. What is going on, Adam?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing?
What's up? Okay, I just put the link in there. Hopefully, Melissa will see it and join as well. But just talking about Brock Purdy, and it's funny. He's as well.
You shared the
playing.
link. You shared the link to the whole network, so anyone could click on the link and join us at any time.
Yeah, I've done that before. There's not enough people here to worry about it. When I get to 50, 60 people in a stream, I typically don't do that. But when I have a handful of people, it's like, okay, they're not going to try to sneak in. They're not going to trick me. I'm going to know Melissa when I see her. So I figure, what the hell.
Hey, what's up, Ted? How you doing, buddy? Ted's in Maui, just to let everyone know.
He's in Maui?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's on vacation.
Wow. That's amazing. That's unbelievable. But yeah, so I was talking
the
about
wine and cheese stream, huh?
I know, look at my background.
I sent Melissa the link too, just to let you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't have any way of sending it to her.
Anyway, I thought I did.
You didn't give me a lot of time. It was like, 6:30, and I was like, I got 10 minutes. I got to set this thing up and get everything rolling. Let me just get it started.
Yeah, I was waiting for you, but I was like, and then Melissa just texted me. He's like, you're live right now, and I'm like, no. Because I kept checking the StreamYard to see what was going on. But anyway, I heard you were talking about Mr. Purdy, who's on fire with Mr. Kittle lately. Niners Faithful, what's going on? If you wanted to join the link, obviously the link's in the YouTube Niners Faithful. If you want to join on, click it in. Is that going to be your link or my link, or will they just show up? I've never actually shared a link with.
No, that link will just put them backstage. That's just the way of inviting someone into the show. That'll just put them right backstage. So Brock Purdy, first game I was like, okay, what does that really mean? Second game was that, at some point you got to become a believer. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is going to be an elite quarterback or a top 10 quarterback, but he certainly is able to run this offense and manage the game and be a game manager and allow, utilize the Niners' weapons, keep them a running team, keep them a strong defensive team, and allow them to do what they do and win games. So to me, that means save $30 million. You don't have to pay Jimmy G. You go on schedule with Trey Lance when he comes back. You give him the opportunity to be the guy, but you have a guy that's there and ready in case he's not, that's already showed he can win football games with the 49ers.
Purdy stepped in and he's done everything he's supposed to do. With this supporting cast, I think me and you could possibly be all right running the stream here. Yeah, you get CMC in that backfield. You get even Ray McLeod is being a big part of the offense, not just the punt returns. As we saw this week, well, I think it was this weekend where um, Purdy looked deep, and Kittle thought that Ray was the free safety and kind of just shielded him off the ball and grabbed it from him. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did. So there's a couple of what's interesting about the Niners, they have such potent weapons, right? So you think deep, and it's like it's so hard to get them all healthy and on the field at the same time. You can only imagine how good this team could be because there's no Debo, so George Kittle pops up, right? Because they're obviously focused on stopping Christian McCaffrey, right? That was their whole focus the first half. They're not going to let him get much. It's like, okay, so George Kittle explodes, right, for 2 touchdowns. A deep pass from Purdy, and it makes you think when the playoffs start, as this team gets healthy, when Debo comes back, providing he will, if Christian McCaffrey could stay healthy, if Debo could stay healthy, and Kittle could stay healthy, and now they have the emergence of these other role players, this is a tough team. This is a team that I don't think anybody wants to play. What do you think?
I don't want to play, but I'd love to hear like deep Niner thoughts about this coming weekend because the Packers play the Vikings. And are they more interested in seeing the Packers get eliminated or second place more in the picture of because the Vikings lost to the Packers?
Are you asking this Niner fan or are you just asking in general?
If you want to chime in, Melissa, you're welcome. How are you?
I'm just, you two are crazy and I'm running around like a crazy person with their head chopped off. I don't really give a crap if the Vikings or the Packers win this weekend, to be honest with you. I don't really fear either of these teams. Personally, it's my favorite thing in the world if we knock out the Packers again in the playoffs because my brother is an obnoxious Packer fan, and it is my great joy in life that we have owned Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. So to do so again would be amazing, but um, I'm more excited for my favorite players to do damage this week. So that's where I'm at.
Do you have any idea of when Debo's coming back?
He
I haven't heard
is
anything.
just getting cleared for practice, so there's a rumor that it might be this week. It could be next week. There's people saying that he should be on a snap count. I think it'll be forced to happen before the end of the year because they don't want him to be raw for the playoffs.
Mm.
But
Well, I think I think that a snap count would actually be a smart way to go.
But with the way the Niners have rushed players back before and they've gotten re-injured, I worry about them not being on a snap count because we don't have any more IR vacancies after Elijah Mitchell. So I worry that if people come back too early, they might re-aggravate their injury and then not be available for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think keeping the team healthy for the playoffs is the priority.
What's that TV? Do you hear that?
What?
Someone's TV is like on?
That's not me.
I didn't think it was that
loud. So what have you guys talked about so far?
Melissa, just to let you know, you're in the same household as the Niners faithful.
What does that say? I'm sorry. I'm like squinting at a phone. I can't read that.
He said my sister's a Packers fan.
Well,
it is out there. If you want to pop on, just let us know. We'll get you up and we'll get you on here.
My brother does not tune into these shows, so it couldn't be him.
What we're talking about so far, we talked about the Brock Purdy pass to Ray McLeod that was grabbed by George Kittle. Kittle thought he was his free safety in the backfield.
Okay. So there's a story behind that. I don't know if you guys like watch Niner pressers. So George Kittle is probably like the most like cursed rabbit's foot when it comes to touchdowns. Like in 2019, he had like almost 5 that were all called back in like the first 3 weeks of the year against the Buccaneers, the Bengals, and the Steelers, right? And then he had a week till week 5, Monday Night Football. I think halfway through the game before he got a touchdown that wasn't called back to a penalty, whether it was holding or a full start or some other thing. This year he had to wait until I think week 8 against the Rams. So this is somebody who takes up double teams and he gets open, and he's had a few drops, but like every player does. So he finally had a 2 touchdown game against the Cardinals in Mexico City, right? And that was like a huge deal. And then he had another one Thursday night against the Seahawks. So now people are finally getting him respect again in the fandom because he's getting touchdowns, right? Like when he was the powerhouse in 2018 and 2019 when we didn't have any actual like superstars. So Kittle's like, I've had touchdowns stolen from me due to penalty and other people got like jumping his routes and stuff. So then he decided he was going to be the Grinch on Saturday, and he jumped right in front of Ray and stole his touchdown. And thankfully, Ray had the wherewithal to back up and let him get the ball, so that way they didn't like both go for it, and then neither of them got it.
I heard that Kittle thought that Ray was the safety. He really couldn't see him. that's what I heard. I didn't really
that's
see
what
anything.
that's what George said himself. He was going to be he was a Grinch on that play. So as a George Kittle fan, I found that hilarious, and I really enjoyed him actually like coming out and like not bullshitting, and he just said, "Yeah, I stole that one." But what else did you guys bring up? The Ray one, and then Kittle.
Well, the key thing was talking about not so much the plays, but I was just saying that the fact that Brock Purdy is playing so well, I think that the most important, factor of that, the thing to be really excited about, as far as aside from the fact that he's keeping them in this season, is that it solves a really nice problem for next year, because when Trey Lance comes back, you don't have to pay $30 million to have Jimmy G back him up, because you have a competent Brock Purdy already in house.
Can you say that just one more time for me, please? Those key words.
The key words: Brock Purdy. Now that he's here and playing well, you don't need Jimmy G next year. So that's going to save a lot of money. Trey Lance can come back, and Brock Purdy can be the backup quarterback.
You're going to make every Niner fan gush right now there in chaos.
How come?
Because they're like 75% were not Jimmy G fans. They were Trey fans. They were just tired of Jimmy G's.
Okay, so the best way I could describe
weak arm,
it is,
I guess you could say, and
the best way I could describe it is about 65% of Niner fans will support whoever's under center, even if they have deep hatred in their hearts for him or don't trust him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They support the colors and they support the Niners above all else, right? So they'll try to be pro Jimmy. Then there's about 5% of psycho fans that are actual Jimmy G fans and pretty much are the craziest, psychoest, cruelest Jimmy fans in the world. And then there's about 30% like myself who just want anything but 10 at this point. Like the fact that Brock is doing so well is astounding itself, and we have real hope. And for the first time, I think a lot of us feel safe at quarterback, which we haven't felt in a really long time. But at the end of the day, I just want someone young and not so much baggage, and who genuinely just wants to play ball. Like, I don't want Jimmy and all his drama, and then him having his Team and Don Yee leaked things to Adam Schefter, complaining about how we did him wrong by daring to go and trade up to 3 to get a quarterback because he's never healthy. Like, I am so beyond done with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not even funny.
Well, I think that it's very likely he's never going to take another snap for the Niners again. So
I hope so, but everybody keeps talking about how he's out of the boot and he's out and he's going to be ready for the playoffs. And should he come into the playoffs? It's just a bunch of craziness that just it's toxic. And then there were a couple weeks there where Jimmy wasn't getting a turnover, and like that might not be a big thing to you, but it's like a big thing to the Niner community because that's just what he's known for. He's like Jameis Winston. You just have to flinch and wait for it to happen, and then you have to hope that it's not a bunch of them. So when he didn't have any, or he had them call back to be actually getting a flag for once, a lot of people were like, oh, well, this is great. We can have Jimmy for like a couple more years and we can bench Trey like Aaron Rodgers was benched behind Brett Favre and he can grow and slowly learn. And they were all incensed because Steve Young had the awful quote of saying that we could have Jimmy for 10 more years. It was bad. It was ugly times. Ugly times.
No, I think like fun.
I think that it would be really hard to bring Jimmy G in, even if he gets healthy on time, if they're rolling with Brock Purdy. Like, so if Brock, they close out the season, obviously he's doing well. They're closing out the season strong. If they win the first playoff game that they play in, and then Jimmy is suddenly available to play, but they win and Brock plays well, is it really make sense to do a quarterback change right at that moment if this kid is rolling along? And that's going to be a decision they have to make. I would hate to see that. I say you don't change something. You don't fix something that's not broken. You could have Jimmy G suited up as the QB2. If Brock starts to struggle, if they fall behind, if something's going wrong, then you give it to the more veteran guy. I don't know. But I would start the quarterback that's been winning. I mean, if Brock is winning, then you stay with him. And, and hopefully you don't need to even look at Jimmy G.
And all of that's true, but then this team, for some reason, just can't let this guy go. He's like a bad rash that just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Like, I there are really Niner fans who said for months straight, right? That the moment, it doesn't matter if it's like 4 a.m., 3:30 in the morning, it doesn't matter what time period you're in, whether it's Pacific, Central, Mountain, Eastern, even Great Mountain Time, which I think is what all the British fans are in. They will go live whenever the news breaks that Jimmy Garoppolo is finally gone, and they will start partying like it's Y2K or something. It's that bad.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't imagine that he's going to sign with the Niners now. I mean, like next year anyway. So, but I understand they're going to do whatever gives them the best chance of winning. I just can't imagine him coming back after all these weeks missing time and starting in the playoffs. And I just think
he's not really even good in the playoffs.
Yeah, I just think that's
the crazy part.
Crazy. He has more wins than Mike Tomlin in the last 12 years in the playoffs.
Okay. As a Steelers fan, you know that like Terry Bradshaw wasn't like throwing a bunch of passes in the playoffs. But even Terry Bradshaw during the NFC Championship win in 2019 was laughing that Garoppolo had barely like 6 to 8 passes in that game because the team didn't trust him that much that they did not want to put the ball in his hands and risk him losing the game. Like he almost tried to lose the Vikings game before that. Like, that's how bad he is in these games. There's, like, bad regular season Jimmy, and then there's, like, worst playoff Jimmy.
I'm not disputing it.
Not a Jimmy G fan. But we're going to find out if Brock can do better. Look, it would be amazing if they went to the Super Bowl. Imagine they go to the Super Bowl. Look, the way they're playing.
The only team that's going to stop them is themselves.
Yeah,
exactly.
The way they're playing right now.
Right, there's only 2 teams that they have to get through that are really like, feel like a threat, and that's Philadelphia and Dallas. And it's no guarantee you have to play both of them. Like, I don't know how it's going to line up the seeding, but there's no guarantee you have to play both of them. You might have to play either or the Eagles or Dallas, and I don't really see any other teams that the Niners won't roll over. So I mean, there's a very good chance that this rookie, Mr. Irrelevant, might be the first player in history. What a story it would be to come in and lead his team to
I mean,
a Super Bowl.
Okay. I'm trying really hard not to be that obnoxious, like, Niner fan whose team went from, like, being discounted because they lost 2 quarterbacks to now this. I really don't want to be like the Philly fans that were, like, obnoxious with, like, the big mask in 2017 with the underdog thing. But it's not unheard of that a third-string rookie quarterback has gotten a team through the playoffs. They just never got into a Super Bowl before. So the 1999 right? Buccaneers got to the NFC Championship, and they got rolled over. Granted, but they did to still make the championship game. So I'm hopeful. I would love it to be this year. I would love for guys like Trent Williams to get a Super Bowl. I mean, last year was like his very first playoff appearance and playoff win. I don't think it's his actual, like, first playoff appearance. I think he got the one with Robert Griffin III. I could be mistaken. But that was his first win. And he was playing injured, and he even said himself he kind of regretted playing because he wasn't 100% healthy. But he I think a lot of these players wait their whole lives, like the really great ones, to get that close to compete in meaningful games. And it's hard to bench yourself, and not take part in it. So whether you were okay with it or not, I really want it for the older guys that may not be in the league long enough for the Niners to make a real push. Like, it broke my heart when Patrick Willis and Justin Smith and Joe Staley and all of them all missed out on winning a ring. I really don't want to see that happen to another generation of Niner players.
I can say if they are playing in Glendale or Temp, wherever the hell what is it? Is
Glendale,
it Glendale,
Arizona?
Yeah, it will be like a home game if they make it.
Yeah. It definitely would. Look, this is an opportunity. What makes it so interesting, remember, it's not just that it's a rookie quarterback, okay? It's this last player selected in the entire
please
draft.
Don't use the nickname. You're going to use the nickname, aren't you?
I thought it was funny. Like, we talked about Trayvon Walker.
All right, go ahead, use it.
We talked about Trayvon Walker last week being totally irrelevant. And now tomorrow night, I'm sure we're going to talk about it again. But all of a sudden, the Jaguars are in first place in the AFC South, which is, I don't even know what's going on in the AFC South anymore. But now all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence is getting back to where he kind of needs to be and his comfort zone, and yeah. But all of a sudden, like, maybe Mr. Irrelevant was listening to us and said, "I better start playing."
So the best way I could, and this is not a Niners, describe what's going on in the South is that the Colts made the same mistake they always make, which is getting an old-ass quarterback who can't play anymore. The Texans found another coach to be probably one and done and just scrape by with enough wins to be respectable-ish. And Tannehill pulled a Tannehill. Taylor Lewan can't stay healthy. Ryan Tannehill is not good enough, and they're even worse without Ryan Tannehill. So I'm not shocked that Dougie P took advantage of the situation. I just hate that Evan Ingram's going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're going to get over that, Melissa. We're going to get over that. No hating players. No hating players. You know that. So
I have deep hate in my heart for Evan.
Is Ray McLeod filling in as Deebo Samuel lately with that big 71-yard run, or was that a total fluke?
So So Kyle supposedly has had this new thing where he calls players out during the week now. So a couple weeks ago, I think it was either the Saints game or the game right after the Saints game. Could have been Miami, but either way, right? So the linebackers shut down on defense, right? They got all the praise in the meeting, and Jay Greenlaw and Fred Warner and everybody balled out, and Kyle kind of threw shade towards Nick Bosa. And Nick Bosa did not take well to said shade. So he came out like a house on fire, and I forget which weeks these were. This is all kind of like meshed together because it's just so much emotions. But anyway, so the next game he came out and he had like 3.5 sacks, and he was just like utterly dominating. And when he came off the last sack, he went right up to Kyle Shanahan on the sidelines, and he thought, or Shanahan thought that Nick was gonna like hug him, and they were like celebrated together. And then Nick just like gets really serious, looks him dead in the eye, and goes, "Don't talk shit about me," and then just walks off.
I think he's got what 17 and a half sacks this year already. Is that what I think that's what I read.
Yeah, he had 17 and a half. He would have had 18 and a half, but they don't count sacks on failed 2-point conversions as an actual sack, which I think is silly, but it is what it is. It's one of those stupid tuck rule loophole where you get penalties to knock off time on the clock, Belichickian weird rules that just slip through the
clock don't tick.
No, but I'm saying it's one of those weird rules that are just there for some ridiculous reason to just infuriate fans.
Jets, got anything?
I think it's a silly rule because if you're going for 2 points and you drop back to pass and going for that 2 points and the defender sacks you, it's a sack. And it happened during the regulation 60 minutes of the game. It's a sack. So not counting it as a sack is kind of silly to me because it's very impactful and important to the game as much as any other play because it's the stop 2 points, which could be the difference in a game. So I don't understand why you wouldn't record that.
And it's how people supposedly value you for the dumbest reason. I don't understand it, but it has to do with player bonuses. It has to do with contract negotiations. It has to do with how people see you and your legacy. It has to do with how you stand in like franchise records. So right now he's trying to get 20 and beat Aldon Smith's record of 19.5. You know, TJ Watt and Strahan are both tied at 22.5. He's making a case right now for Defensive Player of the Year. So sacks like that would matter when he's not like Micah Parsons going up and playing all over the field trying to chase stats like interceptions and stuff, trying to, you know, be the multi-gadgety thing that just tries to be this overused commodity that's not really good at either position. So in the long run, it matters, and I value that it matters. But at the same time, I think it's a little bit overrated because there's been no one, and I literally mean this, no one that I've ever seen be held around his neck the constant way that Nick Bosa has, or has 2 offensive linemen on him the way Nick Bosa has, or has been chip blocked with tight ends on top of the 2 offensive linemen the way Nick Bosa has ever since his first game against the Buccaneers and Jameis Winston in 2019. It's like crazy to me. And I think it goes a lot underrated because he's on a dominant defense, or he has been for the most part. So I don't think he sticks out as much as a Micah Parsons or a Myles Garrett or TJ Watt or who's that guy on the Patriots? Judon, or one of these guys that's on a capable defense, but they're not so dominant that he kind of gets lost in the mix because he's not shining on a team that has like not enough stars to have like it washed out, sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, look, well, he's he's certainly recognized by knowledgeable people. I understand. You're right. That we put too much into like different stats. Like just looking at sacks is not the way to evaluate a defensive player for sure. Because
Yeah.
like you're saying, it's like you could have a play where Nick Bosa is coming in on the quarterback, forces a pressure that forces an interception. Right? That's not going to be recorded as a sack, but it's actually better than a sack. And that's never going to go down on paper as happening. So, when you evaluate players, you have to, obviously you got to look at more than the box score. And Nick Bosa, I could just tell you as any team comes to play the 49ers, if they're not worried about Nick Bosa, they're stupid. I mean, like if you're going to overlook Nick Bosa, you're crazy. But I think you said it right just from the double team. Anytime you have a player that you have to double team, regardless of the stats, that in itself has incredible value. For to know that the other team is going to have to use two guys against one and give all your other players an advantage.
My favorites are the ones where he gets brought down to his knees and people think like they can let up on Nick Bosa or that he's not going to keep fighting even on his knees, and he still crawls towards the quarterback and pulls him down by the waist, and he still gets his sack because he's like, you're not going to stop me.
No, he's awesome. Awesome player. Awesome player.
I hope he gets it back this offseason.
It's because he's not talked about in the media a whole lot. Doesn't mean teams aren't talking about him.
Oh, I'm not saying that teams don't. I'm just saying the media, the people who vote him in for like a Pro Bowl or an All Pro or could actually benefit by covering him enough so that way he could get less chokeholds around his neck, because the rest would have to take it more seriously if he was a media darling. That's how I meant that it matters, because Nick is going to be Nick. I have no fear in that. But it would be nice, if people gave him a slight bit more credit. But, this offseason, it was all about Bobby Wagner. It was all about Aaron Donald. It was all about Tariq Woolen. It's about JJ Watt. It's about all these other things. Buda Baker, like everybody in the NFC West has respect except for the Niner players individually.
I think that fares better though. That way a lot of the attention's taken off the team. There's not, that way they're not like hyping up one guy like through the whole thing, and that way the whole team can still stay focused and not have to listen to it and then run that off of motivation like they're totally fucking ignoring us. And that could really drive people, a team, to say we're not forgotten anymore, motherfuckers. That's just my personal opinion, but
I'm not disagreeing with you, because if you've ever seen a 49 hours, which is like the recap thing that they do every week whenever there's a win, they like break down the game, some highlights, the victory locker room. They show some of the quotes around the media that were around that week, and it's just it's like a glorified hype video, right? And you can see that the players and the team take notice of some of the stuff that's said, but and I do like that they're playing so well together. There's like group tackling. The Saints game, for instance, there was that one goal line stand where Kamara was hugged around the middle by Dre Greenlaw, right? And then Talanoa Hufanga came in out of nowhere and shoulder knocked out the ball, and then Hassan Ridgeway came out of like nowhere and ran all the way downfield and knocked the ball out of Juwan Johnson's hands. And then somebody else, I forget who, picked up the fumble. But I love that how this defense is playing together. Like that's the main thing that excites me besides the offense. Like, and the few players getting some recognition and getting to shine. I really watched this defense and I love this defense. And I never thought I'd love anything like the Fangio defense, because Justin Smith was my heart, and like it's like beyond that now, like it's just so stunning to get to the privilege to watch something like this.
when in this defense, and I got to see it when it works, and I got to see it when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
With this defense, when you can get there with four, man, is it a special defense to watch. And the Niners have the front line to do it. They get there, and boy, you get to see what that leads to and what that looks like, and it's pretty amazing.
It's nice because it's not like the 2019 defense where you had to like flinch sometimes when it came down to the secondary to cover, and you had to worry that they will let the front four down. So now you got the all three levels harmonious together, and the crazy part is, we're not the most injured team anymore, but we did have some severe injuries, and it's like all those years of saying the next man up are finally like a reality. Like there's some dip, but there's not like a lot of dip where this defense is still churning, this offense is still churning, even though he lost key guys like Emmanuel Mosley or Adebo Samuel or Eric Armstead for a couple weeks, or all these other big players. So it's really truly just amazing to watch.
That's the beauty of having like a really strong system. You have a system.
Jeremy, you're getting a shout out here real quick.
Yeah, I see Pure Adrenaline Sports. That's John Post, the Postman. What's going on? His channel is Fantasy Sports, so he covers all teams. He's a great guy. What's up, John?
So here's a quick update, real quick. Debo might practice later this week, and Garoppolo's cast is off now.
Oh God. Yep. Garopp's not going to play though, not yet.
And Elijah Mitchell is also starting to practice again too. So I'm excited.
That's really good news, because we know the Niners like to go by committee. So having Mitchell back with McCaffrey, that's awesome.
I cannot wait for that. I really want to see Elijah shine.
It says he could come back Friday morning.
Yep.
All right.
For Mitchell.
So he'll probably be on a pitch count too.
So, I don't know how much of this game you guys watched, but I had to ask you a question. There was this one play, I forget when it was. Nick Bosa got a sack, right? And then the ball got coughed up, and Jordan Willis was able to hold on and get the turnover. But it wasn't listed as an interception, and it wasn't listed as a fumble. So how else would you clarify a turnover like that? Just say it's a turnover? Like, I don't understand stats. I don't understand people who are obsessed with stats.
He sacked him, and the ball got knocked loose, and he recovered.
Well, Bosa sacked, and then the ball got knocked out because of the sack, and then it was a turnover.
That's a fumble.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's a forced
I was
fumble.
curious.
That should be like, if you look at Bosa's stats, it should be a sack, and a forced fumble.
So I can't wait to beat up on the Raiders, and I really can't wait to beat up on Devontae Adams in specific, because he's a freaking Packer, and he will always be a Packer.
Yeah,
and I got deep anger issues towards one Max Crosby.
It was a strip sack fumble.
Okay. Because Max Crosby last year, for some reason, Bosa was coming off that ACL injury, the gruesome thing at MetLife, which, by the way, I hate MetLife. I know you're a Jets fan, but that turf's trash.
Well, it's not just the turf; it's the entire stadium is trash. It's the
I wasn't gonna go there.
The worst stadium in the NFL. It takes an hour to get into. It takes forever to leave. It's 2 hours just to get out of the area. It's absolutely a nightmare.
It's in the worst part of East Rutherford. So an absolute swamp.
Yeah.
And it looks like an awful little tuna can in the Meadowlands. I mean, honestly, like, how did the hell, like, if you didn't know what it's supposed to look like, you wouldn't know those things hanging off the side of the stadium are supposed to be like jet wings. That's exactly what it's supposed to look like. Anyway, so back on Nick Bosa. He got 15.5 sacks last year. He was coming off that gruesome ACL injury, and what really angered me, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, was he didn't get a single vote for Comeback Player of the Year. He didn't get any single votes for Defensive Player of the Year, and he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl and All Pro last year, and yet somehow Max Crosby was favored above him, which really pissed me off. So, yeah, I want to see the Raiders get embarrassed.
They might. They've been embarrassed this whole year. I mean, overall, I mean, this is a horribly disappointing year for them. And this coach of theirs, they signed into this, Josh McDaniels, to this long contract, and it's another big contract they might have to eat. I think the only thing saving his job is how many different coaches could they pay at the same time? The Raiders,
They're paying 3.
Well, did they buy Gruden out? Did they buy him out, or are they still paying him?
Gruden was on a 10. Gruden was on a 10-year, I believe, fully guaranteed contract or close to it.
Yep.
So that they still have to pay him. I don't know if they changed the contract for Rich Bisaccia when he took over for Gruden when he got fired halfway through the year. So they're still paying him. They signed McDaniels to a mega contract, and supposedly the rumor is that the only reason that he hasn't been fired yet is because Al Davis is too cheap, saying that he's bankrupt and he can't pay another coach. I don't know if I buy that or not, but yeah, the Raiders and the Broncos, who for some reason everybody had as like favorites to win the West or to be in the playoffs, both really suck this year.
No. Well, Denver already addressed their coaching issue. He's gone. I can't believe they fired him with 2 games to go. That's just really sticking it to him. That's basically just sticking it to him. We're not even going to wait the 2 games. Yeah, they got humiliated so bad by the Rams. They just chucked him. They said they want. That's a statement.
It's not unheard of. I believe a couple of years ago they did the same thing with Jay Gruden when it was the. I'm not going to say what it was back then because you're not allowed to say that word anymore. But anyway, so when he was the Commanders coach, I believe they fired him with like 3 games left or something like that.
You're allowed to say Redskins, okay? It's not.
I'm not saying that word.
It's not a bad word. It's just the name of a football team. It's not a bad word.
Either way, I believe Gruden was fired like with 3 games left because they wanted to get a heads up on everybody else that was going to wait till the end of the year to fire all their coaches on Black Monday. So that's why they settled on Riverboat Ron, and they were like the first franchise to not only interview a minority candidate, but then hire said minority candidate. So I can understand why, and I think it's going to be a harder job to fill because nobody else wants to touch Russell Wilson like with a 10-foot pole, and they have no picks and they're bankrupt.
I think Sean Payton's going there.
You think he's going to walk into that situation? Maybe he believes he could save Russell Wilson.
I honestly believe Sean Payton at this point in his life is going to wait for.
Jeremy, was this more of a question for you there, buddy?
No, I think that was for
Melissa.
No, I think that was for Melissa because I think he's wondering, like, he didn't know that they were still paying Mayock, the Raiders.
I don't know if they're still paying.
Sometimes they work out buyouts. You know what I mean? Like they negotiate and they give them the money up front for the contract all up front, and it's less money because like with Lotto, you make more money if you get the money all at once, lump sum, so you don't have to give them as much.
I don't know. I don't know if they're still paying Mayock. I know for a while the Giants were paying like a couple GMs and a couple coaches because you can't avoid that stuff when you live in this area. But yeah, I just don't know. But like I said, I think Sean Payton at this point in his career is waiting for the Chargers job. He wants that young, hungry quarterback that he can mold and do with what he wants. And I don't see him going for another vet quarterback in a hard division with the Chargers and the Chiefs to go up against twice a year with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and maybe Lamar, if Lamar still stays with the Ravens, and all these other dominant forces in the AFC. I don't see him going from the cakewalks NFC South to wanting to deal with all that craziness in his life.
The LA Chargers would be absolutely deadly if they got Sean Payton as their coach. No question in my mind.
Well, supposedly that's what he loves. He loves living out in LA. He loves the lifestyle, and his family's happy. But like I said, I don't know if Brandon Staley's going to get fired.
There's all kind of stories going around right now about Sean Payton. Is he going back to New Orleans? Is Tom Brady going with him? And then Troy Aikman saying that Sean Payton's is in the driver's seat for the Denver Broncos job.
Did you have to bring up TV12? I had to turn off my TV. Like I literally
real quick what
almost took a phone. I almost took a phone and broke the TV behind me because all day today, all I've seen is not an ounce of actual respect for my team, but everybody and their mother once again photoshopping Tom Brady into a goddamn Niner jersey.
I said New Orleans. I didn't say anything about.
No, but that's what everyone's starting again. Tom Brady wants to go home again. Tom Brady wants to retire where he always wanted to play. Blah, 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 blah. Aaron Rodgers lived in Chino. He wanted to be a Niner. He was promised first overall. We heard these stories how many times? Like, it's exhausting at this point.
I think that we've seen the last of Tom Brady after this year. I hope I'm right. It's enough already. It's really, I mean, it's just enough. He's struggling to, he's not playing well, and it's stupid already. It's just go away.
I think this weekend is very important in that. I think if Tom Brady loses to the Panthers and Steve Wilkes, and that run duo between Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, I don't see him coming back. I mean, I know the thing in Brady is like he never wants to quit. He always thinks that he can always have one more run. And his father always makes those comments like, "You have to take my son off the field in a straitjacket." But he's looked so miserable this year, and if he loses out on the playoffs, like I know that's not like the ideal way of writing off your career, but at the same time, like, how long are you gonna put yourself on the field to get killed?
Yeah, no, he has no reason why he should play. He has no reason to come back. It doesn't make any sense. He's had his career. It's like it's silly at this point. But
well, here's another one for you, Melissa. This one's more up your alley.
You're making me pull this up and freaking YouTube out because I legitimately cannot read that. I keep telling you that.
Oh, you need to get a different little you need to get a little notebook for these live sessions we do.
Alright, I'm pulling up the pod right now.
Go on eBay, buy a notebook for like $35 and have it shipped to your house. I have 2 of them. I use them for my basketball.
So the 49ers play the Raiders. They still have a chance to be the number 2 seed, right?
That was my question to everyone whenever I first got on here. Do you want the Packers to win this weekend and beat the Vikings? And I mean, the Niners still have to win, but I think if the Niners win, they get the 2nd seed with the win, right?
Okay,
I think it's winning. They have it, right?
So real quick, Rick Diaz. I'm not saying that we should care about Tampa and Tom Brady or care about Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. What I'm saying is that because nobody believes in Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, they keep national media wise keep photoshopping these players in Niner jerseys and saying that the Niners could be so great if they had one of these old, experienced, broken down quarterbacks, and that's my frustration. So I wasn't saying that they were important because I love the Niners and my heart belongs to the Niners, but I was just saying this has been a constant story that's coming up again because we're about to hit the playoffs, and nobody thinks that Brock Purdy is going to do well for some reason.
Well, so far it's good. I think there's a window of opportunity. I think there's something about this year where there's a window here for the Niners, and it's because again, there's Philadelphia, there's Dallas. Cannot disrespect either of those teams. They're
you know what the crazy part is, and they're not even talking about it. Sorry to cut you off. I just want to get this out before I forget it. The Jalen Hurts injury is big enough, because it's his throwing arm. But the bigger story, I believe, is Lane Johnson's hurt right now. And that's a huge part of protecting Jalen Hurts, especially if he's coming back on a bum shoulder and he hasn't been throwing for a couple weeks.
Yeah, the Eagles are, even with their record too, aside from that, they've shown some vulnerability. There's other teams that have come close to beating them. They haven't exactly dominated. The Cowboys exposed them a little bit. The Cowboys themselves have been exposed. They're a hot and cold team. They dominate one week and then they'll disappoint the next week. I think the Niners have a realistic shot. Very realistic.
That's the thing I think about, and I'm really not trying to come off cocky, but because of you guys and because I just genuinely love the NFL, I watched a bunch of football, right? So I watch these games, and for the life of me, I can't avoid these games because I live in Jersey, so I mostly have to force myself to watch the NFC East because that's all national TV gives me, that or the freaking Packers.
You love it.
But I really don't. But anyway, you suck for throwing me off. Most of these games, it feels like it's like the Chiefs. Like you're watching a shootout because there's not much defense, and it feels like they're just winning them by like the skin of their teeth, and then people just wax poetic afterwards and say, "Oh well, look at the final score. They dominated this team. Look at them. They're so great. They keep winning." I believe it was like in the high 30s when the Lions faced the Philadelphia Eagles, like in like week 4 or something, and like it came down to like the last play or something like that for the Eagles to pull off the win.
I'm not a perch.
The same thing with the Vikings. Like they're right now the team with the most wins in one score games, whether it's like by 3 points or 7 points. The Cowboys, who were supposed to be this great elite defense, have barely gotten one sack for like the last 3 games. Like it's just it feels like 2020 NFC. It feels like that year where Brady went on that magical run. Like there were other teams in the playoffs and they could have all had their moment, but it felt like it was destined for Brady to have that run because like the NFC wasn't that strong back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a good chance. The best way to like just like forgetting about respect for the media of the players and forgetting about what the media is saying and forgetting about like all of that. You want the respect, you win rings. Just win the ring. Let the Niners come in there, win out, win the ring, and then the respect comes. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter if anybody sees the Niners or gives them any credit. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing. Let them go unrespected. Let people think they're not dangerous because they don't have a quarterback. Let that be the narrative, and then let them come in and just take the whole thing and punch everybody in the face and win.
Hey, so I have to ask you guys because you have different teams than mine. Are centers in the league that bad that Jake Brendel is an alternate Pro Bowler?
Yeah, center
in the league right now.
There's an incredible shortage in centers. I mean, the Jets, McGovern for the Jets is actually considered a better than average center, and he's not good. Like none of the Jet fans really like him, but then we're reminded that he's better than average, and more than half the teams in the league would love to have him because there's definitely a shortage in centers in the NFL right now. I mean, the Buffalo Bills are actually using, because of an injury, offensive guard that the Jets cut as their center. There's a lot of desperation in the NFL right now.
Oh my
So,
god,
so
I do not miss those days where Daniel Brunskill was my center. I hated those days.
But what's interesting is that
Oh, those
there
were
are a
awful.
lot of good. This is a good year for centers in the draft. I think there's like 4 centers that could go in the first few rounds. So, which is a lot compared to the last few years. So,
But a lot of them like that West Coast Shanahan system, and supposedly the West Coast Shanahan system is predicated on a strong center, even though we've never really had a strong center, mostly because Kyle
did the
used.
Niners pay a lot of money for an undrafted free agent center? Like they broke the record. They paid him more than they've ever. Any undrafted free agent got paid. I think he got paid like $240,000 for an undrafted free agent. He was a center. Because I know the Jets were interested in him, and the Niners got him. I'm forgetting his name. I don't know if he made the team. I don't know what the deal is.
Okay,
I
so
know that they went for somebody.
This past year, it was we got Jason Poe. We brought in Nick Sakel. I believe it was a draft pick. Be wrong. We brought in Donovan West.
I think he was the undrafted free agent, maybe.
And there was some other dude that got a bunch of snaps besides Brunskill in preseason that pissed me off because he was so awful.
Oh, but he didn't make the team. That's so weird. They paid him a lot of money and he didn't make the team. The center I'm talking about. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember. All I know is his last name started with an S, and I hated him like with a fiery passion. He's so bad. But yeah, like we've had center issues since like the beginning of Shanahan's career. We had I think Godwin still or Goodwin, and then they got rid of him and sent him off to like Miami. They brought in Weston Richburg from the Giants, and I hate bringing in Giants because they never work out. They had Ben Garland, they had Alex Mack, Daniel Brunskill, and now Jake Brendel. So like, I want a real center so we can get rid of Kyle Juszczyk and not have Kyle Juszczyk pull out the different coverages on plays because I hate Kyle Juszczyk with a fiery passion. So I have mega beef with Kyle Juszczyk. And he cannot get a goddamn yard. Like, how hard is it to get 1 yard? You're supposed to be this great, multifaceted Swiss Army knife offensive weapon, and you can't get a goddamn single yard in the red zone when your team is giving you the damn ball to get a goddamn touchdown.
It's amazing how sometimes teams make getting a yard so difficult. It's amazing.
All right. I vented enough where I don't have to go psycho and embarrass myself.
I think it's fun. Like I thought it was really good that the defense shut down Robinson, 22 carries, and held him to 58 yards. I thought that was a mighty key moment.
I love that this defense, even when someone has like a bad game, so like a lot of people are saying Dre Greenlaw had like a bad game this game. You had Javon Kinlaw, you had Arik Armstead, you had Fred Warner, you had all those other guys like pick up the slack and like shut things down in the middle. Like that used to be like the biggest Achilles heel aside from the secondary for the Niners defense. The run D would be abysmal at times. You know, like Kyler Murray would break outside and like run these mega runs because like nobody could tackle him. So yeah, they gotten really better about stopping running backs recently, which has been quite fun to watch actually.
Yeah. Like I said, like 22 carries and only 58 yards. That's horrible stat on the running back, but awesome stat for the defense.
Yeah, you don't run against the Niners defense if the Niners defense is playing the way they're supposed to be playing. I think another thing to be excited about if you're a Niners fan is there was a point in the game where Brock Purdy, struggled a little in the first half, when he threw the pick. And it could have been, that's a test for a young player. That could have been the moment where there was a moment of struggle. He wasn't doing so great in the first half. Like, he
had
was,
7 incompletions. That had to be when it happened, though.
Yeah, so it wasn't going as well for him. And look, a lot of young players, that's when they crumble and it starts stacking and they get into that quicksand and everything starts to go wrong. But Brock Purdy finishes the game stronger. He actually got stronger from it. He's, that's when he really started lighting it up. And that's a really good sign for a young player.
So, in case any Niner fans, especially ones that I know who know me, watch this, I'm going to say this because it's true, and I'm not going to get a bunch of crazy SDMs again because I really will lose it if I get them. Juwan Jennings is the reason that interception happened. Supposedly it was thrown right into his stomach. I couldn't see it well because our TVs kept going in and out. But either way, it was thrown to Juwan Jennings. He tried to bring the ball in. He couldn't get his hands on it. It got tipped up and then went right into the defender's hands. So that's how that interception happened. So it wasn't on Brock, really. I mean, it'll go against him in like the stats and stuff, but it wasn't like because it was a bad ball, It's just one of those fluky catches that go to the defense.
There's two kinds of interceptions. One's you're fooled by the defense and you throw it into them, which is the worst kind. Then there's the missed throw, which happens to any quarterback, and it's the second to worst kind. And then there's the third kind where it's off of your own receiver and it's really not your fault at all. I mean,
actually, my least favorite one is the one that you didn't even mention, and this is the one that everyone seems to forget used to happen constantly, right? So anyone who's had issues with Jimmy Garoppolo, even if you're a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo, knows that he has this propensity to throw picks to linebackers. Like it was just a known thing, right? And I thought back then the worst offender with that was Kendrick Bourne, because Kendrick Bourne would get behind a linebacker and just like sit in his spot where the route was supposed to end, and he just wait for the ball to come to him, and he would never fight for the ball or try to knock the ball away in case the defender got in front of him, which always used to happen. And so those are the ones that make me the most angry, when your offensive player has nobody on him and clearly could do something so it's not turned over, and then still lets the turnover happen.
It's annoying too when the player doesn't do their job. But the key thing, though, my point only was that a lot of times a young quarterback, no matter how the interception happens, when things go wrong,
I understood your point. I wanted to clarify the one thing that wasn't on Brock, because
right. Which sometimes
Niner fans are touchy when it comes to interceptions.
Oh, sometimes sometimes it's worse. Sometimes a young player will be even more prone to falling apart when it's not his fault, because that's even more frustration. But like to come back after that, whether it's his fault or whether a receiver knocked it up in the air, but to come back after that and play the way he played and not let it throw off his confidence is a really big deal.
Throwback.
It's a really big deal.
His name is Fernando, and he's awesome. But yeah, so to you guys, that might be shocking, right? Because you're not Niner fans. I mean, you cover the Niners because you guys talk NFL, but that first start, right? Because I think he should still get credit for the Miami game because he played everything but like 8 snaps, but that's just me.
So wait, was this announced today? JJ Watt's retiring at the end of the season?
Yeah, he announced it on Twitter this morning.
Sorry, I didn't see it. Been at work and Christmas party, so I missed that. Sorry.
So anyway, so Brock Purdy in his very first start, you would think this would like completely destroy him. He's down the field. I don't know if he was exactly in the red zone, but he was close to the red zone. And he throws a pick, right? But he gets called back due to a penalty, right? So he gets bailed out. And the very next snap, you would think, okay, this is going to be a Jimmy Garoppolo situation where Kyle's either going to go like in at halftime and just like kneel it out, or the quarterback's going to get in his head or not be able to bounce back or shake it off. It was like right before half. And instead, he sees the defender get loose, right? And he knows he's about to take like a brutal hit. And he still throws the ball perfectly down to Brandon Ayuk and gets the touchdown before half. And so, to you guys, that might be shocking, but for Niner fans, we've seen a couple of weeks where things aren't perfect for Brock Purdy, but he still responds every time.
Wait, Ray McLeod ran one for 71 yards and got a touchdown.
Yeah, because Shanahan had called out Ray in the meeting because he said he couldn't call out
I was
Debo
just going off
hurt.
of a throwback here. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know if he missed that stat or not. I understand that McCaffrey and Price had 76 yards, but as a team, it still went over the 100 mark because of that run by Ray McLeod. But they did stop the other two running backs cold, like he was saying. But then again, McCaffrey did find the end zone as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, they as the defense came out and they keyed on McCaffrey. They said, if you're going to beat us, you're not going to beat us with McCaffrey today. And with Debo out, smart strategy. And Kittle, they obviously had the one big run play. They had the explosive play, and then they had Kittle. And that's the beautiful thing about the Niners, because they have other weapons, and they have a great system. And that's what the next man up kind of system is. When you have a really good system, a really good scheme, everybody knows their job, you can be without players, and defense is going to take away McCaffrey. That's okay, because there's a price to pay for that. Anytime you're going to focus and key on a player and take away something from the offense that way, that means they're opening up something else. And the Niners found it. And Kittle becomes the hero. That's great. Next week, they want to take Kittle out of the game. That's fine. Then it's McCaffrey or it's Debo coming back. The point is that they'll find different ways to win, because the defense has to make their choices about what they're going to take away and what they're not going to take away. It's impossible to take away everything when you have a lot of weapons and you have a good scheme, which the 49ers have.
Could greediness stop this team?
Greediness, like how exactly? You asked a question. Greediness, how?
What?
You asked, could greediness slow down this team? I'm asking you, what do you mean by greediness slowing down this team?
Like, are they going to keep sharing the ball, or eventually they're going to be a ball hog? Or,
I mean, this team plays for each other. You have Jennings, you have Brandon Ayuk putting their bodies on the line to block for a Ray or a Debo or George. Like, they work as a team. Now, I think all teams have tempers and they want to get touchdowns. So that's why I was so amazed when George stole that touchdown from Ray. Like, he backed off, he handled it well. He even didn't hold a grudge against him at the presser. Like, you would think all these things would happen, but the team really plays for each other, which to me is astounding, because you're used to like the diva receivers like Stephon Diggs, who like whine when they don't get the ball enough, or they constantly make a spectacle of themselves on the sidelines, like when Beckham was a Giant. Like, I really truly believe the only thing that's going to hold the Niners back at this point are either injuries or dumb penalties that they bring on themselves.
no.
Is that her whimpering in the background?
Yes, she wants. Yes, the neighbors have 5 dogs at their house right now for Christmas, and she must do this all day while I'm at work. Just look out the window at these dogs and want to go outside, and I'm not letting her go outside and play with these dogs because I am not real comfortable with her around other dogs. People are fine, but dogs, I don't have any. I don't know, because she was a rescue, and the way she learned how to play with dogs was she was the bait dog.
Wow.
So that's how she learned how to play. And whenever she was found, her elbow was kind of sticking out of her arm and chewed up and everything else. So I don't want to have that on the neighbor's dogs and that on my conscience as well. And I don't have money if they come after me. So
No, I understand you.
I am not gonna put that at risk.
I understand you. That's like my Yorkie. He was a puppy mill dog that was taken from his litter too fast, and the previous owner, this woman, bought him and hid him in her apartment, and she wasn't supposed to have a dog, and so she like trained him to go outside real quick, pee real quick, and then come back in the house or the apartment. Um, and one time when he was too loud, she actually took a curling iron and burned his flank, and then he ended up in the local county shelter here, and that's how we got him. But he's so
Ouch.
aggressive, and he's such a scaredy cat. He's like the perfect
Wait, you
Napoleon
mean that
syndrome.
little dog?
Yeah, Jake.
Okay.
So so he has that Napoleon syndrome where everything's excitable and everything's scary at the same time. So he's like the biggest sweetheart if he trusts you. He's like the biggest cuddler if he trusts you, but at the same time, he'll just screech your head off and like break the sound barrier because he doesn't know how to handle the outside world. So either he gets too excited, he gets too scared. Either way, he handles things badly. So because of it, the poodle can't do anything because we always have the poodle and the Yorkie together.
All
Sorry
right.
about that, but I understand that the issues
All
with
right. We learned
rescues.
about our dog. Chaos, you got any dog? You got any dog stories, real quick?
Well, my dog's just getting old, so he's that's why he's not here jumping up on my and licking my face right now because he's just too old. He's downstairs laying on the couch. He's very indifferent.
Figured I'd ask you. Why not, right?
Well, he's gonna be 13 in March, so
Jeez,
yeah.
getting
Mine's
up
getting
there.
up there too. At least right now he's a big warm thing
You have to
warming up
mentally
my feet.
prepare. You have to mentally prepare whenever you get the dog to realize they're only gonna be here for 10 to possibly 18 years.
Okay, you just
You
went
have
from
to.
like making me happy that I get to hang out with you guys again and talking about the team I love to getting me really depressed that my babies are gonna die.
I'm not allowed to bring it up in my house. I'm not allowed to say it. I get in big trouble for even talking about it.
I don't want to think
Yeah.
about it either, but I mean, like, I don't know. I'm always trying to mentally prepare myself for the worst outcome.
There's actually a really bittersweet memory for me with that. A couple years ago, the Niners got kicked out of Santa Clara because of COVID, right? So we had to play all of the rest of our games at Arizona. And my older one, Rocco, who we got in '09, um, he, he had some health issues, right? So he grew this hump on his back, um, and he was really getting sickly. And I thought, that was gonna be the last Christmas I had with him. And so he and I stayed up and we watched the Arizona Niners game on that Saturday, and I just remember that I could not stop taking pictures with him and celebrating with him and like putting him with my big ass Niners head hat on his head, and I was just like, I have to document this night like crazy because this might be my last Christmas with my poodle, and luckily I've had 2 more since then, but it's just not something I like to think about, because you never know.
Yeah. So, I guess I'm gonna have to go. I have to cook dinner. But you can keep the show going, hopefully.
I thought this was a really good.
And here he
what's
comes.
up, Perk? Perk popping in. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hi, Perk.
Hey, Perk.
Come here, you. Come show your pretty face.
But
maybe.
I'll leave you guys to wrap it up.
All right,
Nice.
Chaos. Thank you for bringing it in, and we're gonna try and do this. We're gonna try and do this weekly. What are we gonna do here?
And Chaos.
Figure it out.
One quick thing before you go.
Yeah.
For all Niner fans, please, for the love of God, kick the Seahawks ass repeatedly.
That's the plan. That's definitely the plan. Hopefully, DJ Reed will get an interception, pick six, and put it on them. So we'll see.
I just hope Quan Alexander doesn't get thrown out because he gets too brutal. I did not miss that part of his game.
Yeah, that guy can hit. Anyway, bye everybody.
Night.
All right, Chaos, get that food cooked, huh?
Perk! So good to see you and Fernando.
All right.
All right, Diva, you can go leave.
All right, both dogs had their cameo moments, I guess. Well, yes, we do want the Niners to win the next 2 games, as Rick's saying out there in the comments.
It's just okay. So it's not that I don't want to talk about the next 2 games. It's just A, I don't want to jinx it, and B,
I don't want to either, but they're putting it out there, so I figured.
B, they're not as exciting as they used to be. Like, Kyler Murray's gone, Colt McCoy is gone. I don't know if Chase McSorley is even going to play week 3. I don't know if JJ Watt's going to play. Buda Baker's out for the year. Zach Ertz, I believe, is out for the year. It's not like that fun final week that we thought it might be to finally sweep the division. Like that was like a big deal to all Niner fans. We had like that last game circled because we wanted to sweep the division, which is something the Niners haven't done in a really long time. We've been like 5-1, but you never like won all 6 of them, right? So we already have the West. We were like the first team to clinch our division. So I know Kyle doesn't believe in it, sitting players, and he doesn't want to have them rusty and stuff. But at the same time, the Niners are like truly injury cursed. So I could see them maybe only playing like a quarter or a quarter and a half or 2 quarters or like 2.5 quarters and then being sat for the rest of the game. So it's not like I fear we're gonna lose to either of these teams. It's just it's not the big momentous occasion that we all thought they were going to be at the end of the year,
Melissa, your dog's getting comments out in the comments.
Oh man, my Rocco, I love him to death. He's such a grump. He's my little Niner fan, and I love him to death. So. And he's really special to me because when I got sick and I got diagnosed with my terminal chronic illness, not terminal, chronic illness, my bad. So when I got my diagnosis back in 2008, he was like the first thing that gave me hope and joy in life, and I love him to death, but he is a curmudgeon now. And he's mean. He's so mean. Rocco.
Your dog?
Okay, so the reason why I say he's mean is because every time we
Perk scared of dogs.
I saw that.
I never pictured that one.
I can understand it. I mean, even the little ones you don't think are scary can bite the hell out of you. I have stories about that would scare the shit out of people. But so the reason why I call him mean is that he will never leave you alone during meals now. Like if you literally turn your back to him, he will steal everything from your plate. He'll actually count the bites of food that you eat, and he's so bossy. Like, this is a dog where I have to carry him all over the place. I have to carry him to a bed. I have to pick him up. I have to like truly baby him. And yet when he's in a grumpy mood, he will literally walk from the basement of the house up 2 flights of stairs and then just start like planting his legs at like the top of the staircase and just go woo, woo. And then he'll just like go on for like 15 minutes straight, just yelling at us that we have to go follow wherever he is in the house to go give him water. So he's a grump.
Phoenix Murray.
And yours is playful and an attention whore.
All right. I can't see like what the little squares are. They don't show up. The emojis or whatever. I have no idea. Like it shows up as a little square on my end.
So Perk has like about 5 different laughy faces. Y Perk is another laughy face with tears, and then another laughy face with
those
winky
emojis
eyes.
show up. Like those emojis show up on my end.
The throwback one right here, I don't know if you can see this. It's like a little red thing for throwback. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be.
Is that like an angry thing?
I don't know. It looks like a bum eyes and a big straight thing like
Perk's comment, great.
Yeah, I'm sorry I distracted everybody with dogs, but
yeah, we got into a dog comment little talk here.
I can't help it. It's still right after Christmas. We haven't really celebrated Christmas because we normally celebrate on the 6th. Became like a family tradition. My mom's Spanish, and usually she was forced to work on Christmas, so it just became like a thing for us to celebrate after the New Year, and have that low-key celebration where nobody else is really celebrating, and my dad can take advantage of all the like after Christmas sales and buy a bunch of Christmassy things that are underpriced instead of overpriced. So
right, it's kind of like buying Easter candy. Halloween candy. You wait till the day after to buy that shit. Perk, the key is with a bigger dog is to get them when they're a puppy. That way you can train them right and get them under control.
It's not always the big ones that bite. It's the little ones that
it's the little ones. It's the little stupid ones that bite. Not you. Not you.
I don't know about that.
Whenever the big ones bite, you feel it more than the little dogs, for sure.
What scares me about the bigger ones, especially the pits, are that if they do bite you, they got that thing in the back of their jaw that locks in, and you will not be able to pull free the way you could with a smaller dog.
Yeah, she's a pit lab boxer. She jumps like a damn boxer. It's so funny. Jumps so freaking high.
And the other thing that's scary with those bigger dogs is they have so much energy, and they're like 60 pounds of pure muscle. And if they want to, they literally could drag you for like 2 miles.
She's a little shit. You can hear her. She's playing with a rope right now.
At least she's not breaking her blanket again.
Not yet. That's not the problem. It's always other people's dogs that use to fuck me up. That sucks, man. Like, that sucks. But I get it, it's not always some little fucking I've been bit so many times by little dogs because what I do, I deliver pizzas, so I've been bit by 6 little dogs.
This entire fist right here used to have at least 15 different gouge marks or bite marks from my dog because I'd have to literally restrain him on dog walks. I've got about 5 permanent scars still left on here. They're all faded, but they're still there. My dog has this weird issue where he bites the right inner part of his inside claw. So he sharpens it like a little knife, and when you're trying to hold him, that thing gets so sharp because he bites it past the wick that it actually will cut you if it hits your skin the wrong way. And because I'm a diabetic, I don't heal properly, so that's no fun. So I have a question for you. Who do you think on Sunday has a better game, Jay Greenlaw or Fred Warner?
I'm gonna say Greenlaw.
I love that answer. Oh, can you do me one quick thing before you sign off? Can you show Perk and Throwback your Niner jersey right there?
The what?
The Niner jersey on the rack.
Oh, this one?
You see that big, beautiful red jersey right there?
Yeah, this one.
So the story behind this jersey is Adam was gonna do a show with a Niner fan, and he decided to buy a Niner jersey, and he chose Eric Davis.
I did because Gina said she was going to bring him on the show, so I wanted to look like a little kiss ass, I guess.
And that entire rack behind him is like full of jerseys and stuff, and it's really
absolutely
cool.
Is Derek Carr playing?
Right now, yes, but there's talks of maybe benching him. I don't know why they would bench him. The Raiders are out of the playoffs, right? Are they eliminated, or are they still on like that bubble?
I think they were eliminated on Sunday or Saturday because they lost to the Steelers. So I mean, there's no reason to even have Devontae Adams play.
I mean, I could see it happening. I really could. I personally hope not, because I really want to beat up on those players, but I don't even know who the hell
rule out benching Derek Carr for the final 2 games, so
I really don't know who the hell their quarterback would be at that point. Would it be Nick Mullins? Is Nick Mullins even still a Raider?
I don't even know who the hell the Raiders backups are.
I know that they made a move for Nick Mullins from the Browns. I just don't know if he's even still there. Wouldn't that be a storyline? Nick Mullins versus Brock Purdy. Sorry, that was just really funny for at least me. Especially because Nick Mullins won the last Battle of the Bay in 2018, and Kittle had that big breakout game with the one-handed, his eyes were closed catch that went down to like the 25. So I would find quite a bit of amusement if the Raiders actually did play Nick Mullins.
No, it's ESPN saying it's Jarrett Stidham.
From the Colts, right? Stidham was a Colt, or was he a Patriot?
I think he was a Patriot, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he came in right after.
I
think he came in right after Jacoby.
Yeah,
and
New
he was
England
Cam's
Patriots.
back. He was Cam's backup quarterback, I think.
So Josh Daniels might know Steedham better.
I don't know. I never understood why Carr's still there. Like, it's been like an on and off thing even before the Gruden disaster area, where they never seemed like they were all in on Derek Carr. They just seemed to like just pay him just to not have to like do the grunt work of bringing in a quarterback and developing him, and it's just I don't understand. Like, he's not reliable enough or explosive enough to handle that division. Or the defenses in that division. So I don't get it. He took Carr in that division.
Where you think Carr's going to end up where?
I think he's going to end up in the NFC South, to be honest.
NFC South. So we're looking at New Orleans,
Atlanta, Tampa.
No. Desmond Ritter's going to be Ritter's going to be Atlanta's answer.
Carolina.
Sam Darnold.
I could also see him going to.
Well, Perk thinks Carr needs to go to the Panthers.
The football team. I could see it being the Rams if Matthew Stafford actually retires, even though everyone keeps saying that he's going to come back because Kelly Stafford doesn't want to let go of any of that money that he signed for.
Why would you?
I could see him. I could see him
got
going
Baker,
to
baby.
I could see him going to the.
But Baker does look mighty comfortable as a Ram.
I could see him going to the Vikings because Kirk Cousins is only on that 1-year deal, and if he once again no shows in the playoffs, I could see the Vikings moving on from him because it's a new GM and a new coach. The Giants have no quarterback.
Darnold needs to stay on the bench, according to Perk.
You don't gotta believe in Sam Darnold, but he's winning right now, Perk, and he might actually win the South. So I honestly wish I had that game up here in Jersey, to be quite honest, because I want to see Tom Brady lose to Sam Darnold, especially after that ghost game. I felt so bad for Sam. I felt so bad for Sam Darnold coming off mono, and then they had him mic'd up, and they forgot that they had him mic'd up, and the first team he has to play is Bill Belichick, and they capture him saying "ghost," and it went viral, and it's like haunted him like the butt fumble ever since then.
The Sanchez butt fumble?
Yes.
One of the best plays in history.
Oh my gosh.
Can I help you? This is that lockjaw shit you were talking about right here.
Yep.
McVay been bragging on Baker as well, according to Perk, which he has been.
I would love for Baker Mayfield to be the long-term answer at quarterback. Could you imagine Nick Bosa versus Baker Mayfield twice a year, every year?
It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
It'd be so much fun because you just know it probably wouldn't happen all the time, but you gotta know, like, in Nick Bosa's head, it might not be as big as that Monday night showing, but he still got a lot of love for the Buckeyes, and he just every time he'll think of Baker going to Ohio and then putting the flag right in the horseshoe, and then just like wanting to just like knock the stuffing out of Baker Mayfield. So, I did want to ask you because I know we don't have a lot of time tomorrow because usually we're like breaking down like 30-ass game teams and we're always
I know. I
running
still
too
have to
long.
finish. I still have to finish that. I'm glad I started doing that the other day. Holy cow! I forgot all about that.
Uh, but I had to ask you, do you think Gino is a long-term Seahawks quarterback?
I don't think Gina's the long term quarterback anywhere.
So you think this is just like one of those Cinderella stories, like Geno Smith comes back out of 8 years of mediocrity to bring the Seahawks on the precipice of the playoffs?
I think they realized Drew Lock is not a very good quarterback, so they had to make Geno Smith look like this great ass quarterback this year.
I also felt like that was a big fuck you to Russell Wilson. Like this is Pete Carroll saying like I can even be this successful without you. Like, and they even had what was that one presser with DK and Tyler Lockett where they said we finally have unselfish people on this team and we're playing for each other or some stuff like that. Like that's just a hot mess.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. These sound like questions for tomorrow, Miss Melissa.
Yes, I know that, but then we end up like going for like 3 hours, and then everyone starts quitting, and it's just you and me at the end, and then I feel like I got
I
you
kind of like doing
stuck
that
on a
rap.
podcast for like
I
too long.
I kind of like doing the rapid fire like we did last week. That was kind of nice.
You
Like
mean not forcing ourselves to talk for like 15 minutes about a game none of us actually gives a crap about? Or just like asking about like the next game they're gonna face because there's just nothing fun to talk about for that particular game.
that's what I mean. Like I'm trying to get the games like you know I kind of like bring on the people, and we know how we do it. I bring on whoever. I don't care as long as they want to talk some football. I'm in. Anybody
And
wants to
they're
join us tomorrow? We will be doing the recap of last week, and as we've
okay.
been doing the last couple Wednesdays.
So I got a message from Terradome who said he'd be up for a podcast tomorrow because he's working again tonight. Um, I don't know if you want two Niner fans for the weekly show, but I did finally
It's
hear from him.
That's fine. If Perk can pop on, I've never done a show, Perk. That'd be fun. But Perk, hopefully, Call of Duty. Hopefully, you kill some guys and have a good time, buddy.
My
But
hope one day is to do a show with Throwback, but I don't know if Throwback wants to ever be on a podcast.
um, just to let you know, Melissa, I don't have anything to close this show out.
I mean, you don't really
So
need a big
I don't.
fancy exit video like
I just
certain
realized
former
like the only thing
partners
I
of
can
yours.
I'm in my studio now looking for a closer. Like I guess we could go with the theme of the week, the Franco passing video, which wasn't bad. See, this is the one I wanted to use. This is the background I wanted to use the whole time. I don't
What's
know
that
what.
background?
Well, I love this background. I wish I could find it in like a picture that would fit in the
Is that
background.
like at the is that like the German flag?
It's the San Francisco flag,
Okay.
and it's a guy digging in the mine because that's what we're doing. We're bringing dynamite to the mine.
Okay. Um so I wanted to ask you a couple quick questions before we log out. Um what has shocked you the most about the Niners this year as the outside non-Niner fan?
The resilience.
Okay.
I think it's funny listening to you guys bash this team all year, and I get to be part of it. And like win or lose, it doesn't feel like it just doesn't. Like we're gonna go with the Franco ending, Melissa. So that's what we're gonna do. Just because Perk said that, and that's how we're gonna end this. Is that cool?
Okay. I mean, you're a Steelers
And
fan, and
we
I don't
we
mind
definitely
seeing that again. But when you say bashing, do you mean like just a Garoppolo thing, or how we just fight and get at each other's throat? Because
Hyenas
both
bicker
versions
back and
happen.
forth, So it's fun to watch as an outsider because it's like, wow, you guys are
Really crazy.
that good
You
and
can
that
say it.
bad.
Well, I
And
think
here's
okay.
the
So
outsider saying, you guys are that good. Why are you bashing your team like this?
okay, so I
Just
think
doesn't
a
make
lot of it.
sense.
I think a lot of it is that we had a lot of rough years, with Tom Sula and Kelly, and then 2017 where we went 0-9 because our coach was for some protracting reason in love with Kirk Cousins. So he like threw away his first year waiting on Kirk Cousins to be free. And then we got Jimmy, and then Jimmy looked awful at the beginning of 2018, and then he got injured trying to do that stupid juke move on the sideline, and he blew out his knee. And then 2018 was a lost year, and then 2019 we had hope because Jimmy, for some weird reason, stayed healthy for the most part, and we went to the Super Bowl and we lost our second Super Bowl, and then 2020 happened. And we thought it was going to be. I hate saying these words because I wanted to block out these words, but I'm trying to
Ian's kind
explain
of
something to
forgot to
you.
play the last 10 minutes of the
Um,
Super Bowl.
so then everyone called 2020 the revenge tour, and then it started off in the worst way ever because it was the wildfires. So the sky was orange and the air quality was awful. Nobody was in the stands, and we start against the Cardinals, and then Sherman gets hurt. Kittle gets hurt going up for a hospital ball. And the next week, Bosa goes down, Solomon Thomas goes down, Green Mostert goes down, Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, and it's 2020 was an awful year. And then 2021, you got Trey Lance in, and then Jimmy Garoppolo is forced down our throats, and you get to the NFC Championship again, and then you lost everything again. And so it's rough when you start off like last year 3-5 or 3-4, and then everyone's saying this team's trash, they're overpaid, we have all these superstars, we're not doing anything, we're not moving the ball. And I think there's a bunch of people who just enjoy the chaos and the anger and stirring up the fan base.
I'll
And
say it like
so
this. When there's calm, there's no news. When the media stirs shit up, there's news and divide.
I feel like we have a lot of passionate fans, and we don't all have to agree or anything. It's just I wish there wasn't so much venom sometimes when it comes to the bickering and disagreeing. Like when someone says, "Can we just agree to disagree?" Can't you just like accept that? Like, why do you have to keep forcing it, like, and bullying people and trying to like make someone say they were wrong for some opinion or belief they have, or trying to turn them on off of a player that they enjoy watching. Like sometimes it gets really really toxic, and so that's another reason why I'm so grateful to you, because I get to not only get to talk about my team every once in a while, but I literally get to escape the craziness that is the Niners fan base every once in a while.
Right. All right. I think we have accomplished a pretty good show this evening.
Plus, I think you have a very different opinion because you just want anything but Tomlin's winning record. I feel like
I want Kenny Pickett to succeed.
I feel
Well,
like
naturally that means Tomlin's going to succeed.
as the outsider, it feels like even when the Steelers did make the playoffs, like you guys were either like usually one and done, or you'd be like 1-1.
We have 3 playoff wins in 12 years, Melissa.
I was getting to that.
We have 3 fucking playoff wins in 12 years.
I get that. I do.
And
this coach
still has a fucking job.
I feel like
he posted a picture today, Melissa, and it was in front of the Franco Harris picture, and I wrote, "Why don't you get rid of the 500 bullshit and put us back into a championship fucking league?" I don't know if I got any responses from him yet. I haven't looked.
I'm saying, like, I think it's different for you because you guys don't have that fire, like you've said a couple weeks in a row. Like, the Steelers fan base has gotten so complacent, like they're just okay being over 500. Like that whole,
I've been saying it all year.
Championship mentality. Like,
I just finally have a platform to say it on.
Be the black and blue division. We're gonna kick ass. We're gonna take names, and even if we don't win it, we're gonna make our mark. And it feels like Steelers football isn't Steelers football anymore. So that's probably why you enjoy the Niner fan base so much, because it's never boring.
But yeah, but we can definitely save this chat for tomorrow.
I want to thank Fernando and Perk for tuning in, and Ted earlier,
and
who's
Rick
on vacation with his family. I had not finished, but yes, Rick as well.
And yeah, I
forget who the other person was. It was 49.
Both 49ers.
Faithful something.
Throwback was here.
No.
Faithful
before Throwback. Before
here.
Vic Davis.
Faithful 91.
That one. Faithful 91. Thank you for tuning in.
I
didn't remember your hashtag.
Yeah, I don't know his hashtag either. I looked for it and I was like, who is this? But anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. And
thanks, Chaos, for going live without us and letting us.
That's all right. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked it, you know.
But being shocked, be like, what? He's on both channels.
Kind of threw a whole new twist into it. I like it. Bringing his own dynamite into the gold mine. And Melissa, how people get you?
That's my tag right there, NJ49IZZY. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm usually in most Niner chats with my name right there, Melissa Rebely. And I'll be here tomorrow breaking down the NFL with you.
Alrighty. I'm Sports Talking It, Driving to the Top Productions, and I am out, and Melissa is out, and everybody have
enjoy the Franco video.
I am playing it right now.